Hello everyone, I'm Richard Parr and you are watching Sportuccino. Every single Tuesday we dissect things related to do with health and fitness. We get some of the top professionals from around the world, and as you'll see just on my left, in a moment we're going to be talking to Hayden Quinn, getting his full fitness philosophy and learning all about his amazing journey on the program. And you can watch all of our previous episodes on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. And of course, we are live on Periscope every single weekday from 3 p.m. British Standard Time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Just before we get to my interview with Hayden, I want to say about 99 Designs. 99 Designs help design the logo. There it is. I'm pointing the wrong way there. 99 Designs help design our logo. You could have something designed just as great as well by checking out their service. And if you're not happy with what they provide you, then you can get your money back. And it can be anything from a logo to a website design to a business card. And what they do is they offer it to talented freelancers all around the world to give you what they think you would really, really like. Go and check out their service. I've got a link to it on this Facebook page and on our YouTube page, and of course in the resources section of sportuccino.com. Check out their service and let me know what you think of it if you end up using it. All right, let's learn more about health and fitness, and I'm delighted to say that joining me on today's Sportuccino is Hayden Quinn, live from Sydney, Australia. Hayden, so good to talk to you today. Now, on your name super here, I've just had to put your website. I've had to put haydenquinn.com.au because you are a man of many talents. You've got your finger in a lot of pies. You're a foodie, a surfer, a writer, a presenter, marine biologist, a traveler. I've got to start to begin with by asking, how do you juggle everything?
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, no, I'm a very busy boy, but I think the number one thing is having a great team of people that sit behind me here and make sure all the cogs work and I can do all the things I really want to do. So I'm very fortunate to have an amazing team that works behind the scenes so I can have all that fun.
Yeah, let's talk about this because I do the podcast The Best in the World with Rich Parr. I interview Olympic and world champions, and a lot of the things we do talk about is teamwork. And when you say you've created this team behind you, how much is it that they follow your same philosophy as it is as whether they're qualified or hardworking?
No, 100%. You know, I've worked with many people across many different teams and business environments, group settings, fitness, sport, and no matter how hard you work, no matter how passionate you are, if your heart's not in the right place, or more importantly, if your heart or your values are not aligned with, well, in my instance, my business values and where I value my business and where it's got to go, then it just won't work. You don't click. Things don't flow, and I think for me, that sort of fluidity, being able to flow and work together as a one solid unit is so important. So I think being the hardest worker in the world is definitely a plus. You know, I'm always looking for that person, but having someone that really understands you and understands who you are is, I think, the number one factor in really having a great team. And I'm fortunate to have found a number of those people in my, well, I think it's quite a short career, but in my career, I've been very grateful.
Yeah, I've recently been listening to the audiobook Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the guy who created Nike, and it was a very similar philosophy he had, making sure that everyone around him followed the same ideals and goals that kind of he went for. So you've had so many projects in the last few years. You're the co-host of Surfing the Menu, you're an author. Of course, you were on MasterChef as well. You've got your Cube Gym as well in Sydney. What are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, no, I've been very busy. Obviously, Surfing the Menu is currently on air here in Australia on SBS Food Network. It's also on air in Asia, the Middle East, Italy, and Latin America. Hopefully, it's going to be on air very, very soon in the UK. So that's across the Discovery TLC network. But yeah, lots of different projects. Like you said, I have the gym, which is a daily business for me. I also have a partnership in a wine label. So I have a wine label that I'm a part of based out of Melbourne. We do some beautiful Australian wine. And then at the moment, working on some big projects for television. So continuing with that food and lifestyle element, basically all around travel, being the best person you can be, and I guess experiencing the world and sharing that with others. Also working on some interesting stuff around cycling. You can see my bike in the background there.
Yeah.
I'm just about to take a nice tour around New Zealand on that bad boy right there. So, lots of different things up in the air, and always keeping the wheels turning. And yeah, it's one of those things. My world is very much an up and down sort of flow. One minute we'll have a really big project coming, and the next we'll be in a sort of a down phase where we're just planning, organising, and taking our time to, I guess, strategize for that next big project.
Well, there's lots I want to go in detail there with Hayden, and unfortunately we've only got 30 minutes, so we'll try and cover as much as we can there. And you mentioned you've got the gym, but you've also involved with the vineyards, with your own wine. Now, to me, they're opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got one thing which is keeping you really healthy, and obviously with a few too many wines, one thing which isn't too healthy. What do you do as far as balance there? Are you someone who would have a glass of wine regularly, or is it more of a binge where you're going to have a lot of wine and then not work out for a day? How do you balance it all?
Richard, you hit the nail on the head then. Balance is probably my number one philosophy in life. You know, life has always been about balance for me. It's about working hard. It's about training hard. It's about enjoying yourself. And I guess really balancing all those different things. I'm very much the guy that likes to have a glass of wine every night with a meal. I really enjoy my food. I love my wine. And, one glass of wine, everything in moderation, I think, is the number one rule. But then every now and again, things get a little exciting and we can have one or two more than we need, and the training goes out the window. But, I think for me, balance is key, and making sure that you don't want to smash your body all the time. I see a lot of people and they're constantly on the hammer, and it becomes just so strict and so hard to stick to. For me, it's about enjoying the little things, making those moments count with friends and family, especially for me when I'm traveling so much. Those little moments are so special. And if it means having a couple of extra wines because I get to enjoy more time with my friends and family, then I'm going to jump on that, and then I'll still wake up nice and early in the morning and get in the pool or go for a swim or get in the gym down at the Cube.
Now, over the weekend, I did my first warrior run, 7 kilometers, over 50 obstacles, a hell of a lot of mud. On next week's Sportuccino, I'll show a few video clips of it, and there's some pictures already on social media. And in fact, I believe someone Commando Steve, he gave me a few recommendations when he was on the program a couple of weeks ago. Now, the reason I did that was because I wanted to set myself a fitness goal. Is that something that you do?
Oh, 100%. And big shout out to Steve Wills. What a legend. I'm actually working on a project with him at the moment too, which is very, very exciting. It's very early days, but Steve's a great bloke, and I've trained with him a number of times at 98 Riley Street, which is a great gym in Sydney CBD. But yeah, for me, goal setting is probably number one. It's the thing that I do every single day. It's what gets me through not only my fitness world, but also in business. And I think it's so important. If you don't write it down, if you don't visualize it, if you don't see it happening, then it's never going to happen. But in the world of fitness at the moment, I'm someone that, a bit like you, you mentioned you wanted to achieve something and you decided to do the warrior run or the tough mudder or whatever it may be, the Spartan race, which we have so many of those here in Australia. It's great to have a goal. And currently I'm working on a lot of, cardio endurance-based stuff. And my current big number one goal is to complete the coast to coast in New Zealand in February next year. So myself and a very long-time friend, Mark Anderson, who's on the world tour for ocean paddling, we're going to take on the challenge and do it as a team next year. So that's a race from the west coast of New Zealand all the way across to the east coast over 2 days in a team. So for me, setting a goal, if you don't have a goal, you sort of just get into the gym, you get on the bike or you get in the pool and you just I guess you're just slogging away for no real reason. And if you have a goal, whether it be, event that's coming up, you might be, your wedding might be around the corner, you might be having your first kid, or you might just want to look good for that, that special lady that you meet down the village pub on the weekend. So I think having a goal, no matter what it is so important for not only for your training, but just life in general. It just allows you to tick those boxes and be the best person you can be.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned your team there and strategizing for business. I'd like to know a little bit more about that, actually. And in fact, on the Best in the World podcast I did one with Stephanie Rice, the Olympic champion swimmer, a few months ago, and she recommended a book to me called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's about trying to give yourself single targets for 5 years, 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, and things like that, to just get one thing. Yep. How do you strategize things? How far ahead are you planning? And are they like brainstorming sessions? Like how would it work with your team? And how long in advance are you planning for?
Yeah, for me, I'm a big note taker. Like these days, I've got the iPad, so I got the iPen and whatnot. But if you were here, I could take you over to my little my library of notebooks, and I've always been someone that writes things down. This is where I want to be in 10 years. Kids, house, dog. As simple as that is. It's the pipe dream. That's where you want to be in 10 years' time. And then, like you said, you break it down into smaller increments. And I guess those things are sort of the blue sky sort of ideals. And then when we get down to the nitty gritty, we're looking at sort of the 1 year, 6 month, 2 year, 5 year ideas with business. And for me, one of the big things I have is I was talking to someone about it today, actually, which is kind of funny because it's a public holiday here in Australia. It's Anzac Day, which is a very special day in our calendar, very, very important. But we were talking about, I guess, brand identity. And one of the most important things I did from very early on is sort of understand who you are, understand what your values are, and how they can align with different partners throughout business, whether it be someone coming on board as an employee or a sponsor or someone that's looking to give you money to invest into your company. And I've got basically a 30-page brand document which details who the Hayden Quinn brand is, what it means to be a part of the Hayden Quinn brand. And I guess if you don't tick those boxes, then you don't sort of make the cut. And it's even as simple as something like the podcast and what we're doing today is, I look at the work you've done, Richard, and I see that it aligns with my values and who I am as a person. And it's like, yep, let's do it. Let's make this happen. And it's those small things that lead to big things. Another thing that me and my team, we have is basically a mastermind group. And I'm sure a lot of your viewers have done a lot of reading and have learned about people that have great mastermind groups. And, I'm not amazing at everything. I'm very good at the few things that I do, but, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a web designer. I don't do graphics. I don't do this. But I have a number of people that are a part of my sort of circle of, my mastermind group that I go to for that sort of advice and that I pay to create these things and make them happen. And I think it's important to have mentors, people that you can turn to for advice, and those that can offer professional help, I guess, at the drop of a hat and be there for you when you really need them. And I think that's number one, is having those people around you that can support you and lift you up.
Yeah, however much we want to be, we can't be experts at everything, can we?
No.
All right, Hayden, just stay there. We'll be back with you in just a moment. We'll just take a pause for a moment. As you may have seen, people, I have been drinking out of the Sportuccino mug. We have got a whole load of merchandise at sportuccino.com. Why don't you have a look? If there's anything you like, have a look at this. Hayden Quinn is still here on Sportuccino. Now, Hayden, I mentioned about doing the Warrior Run and a little bit sore today, not too bad. And you mentioned about everything in kind of in moderation. And obviously you've got some big challenges up ahead, coast to coast. Have you been given any information or has there been anything that you've learned in your experience with health and fitness as far as rest and recovery goes? Is there anything in particular that you do?
Yeah, for me, I think the hardest thing in my world at the moment is actually stringing together enough weeks where I can deserve, a week's rest or 10 days rest. I spend a lot of time traveling. So there's times where, I'll go overseas and I'll be away and it'll be go, 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 go. And what I like to do is sort of try and align my training around the travel that I do, especially when I'm going to countries where I know that I'm going to be working basically 14 hours a day. And even though this may not sound like recovery, but it allows me to sort of, instead of training while I'm on a work trip, I spend that time just getting away from the pool, getting away from the bike, staying out of the gym, no running, and just enjoy the hotel, work hard, and take some time off. And then when I'm back home and I've got my routine, then I train hard again. But, for me, the most important thing in my life is, well, for one, the food that I consume, two, the sleep that I get each night, and three, just making sure that I'm mentally on my game. And I guess that mental game comes from the first 2 points. And being a food lover and someone that's I guess surrounded myself with great food from a very young age with my mum and the food that she used to put on the dinner table. I think number one for me is definitely having great food, and recovery starts as soon as you, I guess, put that first mouthful of food in your body after the gym session, after your run, after your surf, whatever it may be. And I think the most important thing for me is ensuring that first bite is something nutritious. It's something that's going to fill me up and satiate me until I get to my next meal, whether it be a dinner or a breakfast. Most of my training's done in the mornings and the evenings. I used to be one for, supplementation, protein shakes, all that sort of stuff after a workout. These days I've cut that completely. I'm not taking any protein shakes. I'm not doing anything like that. I just have a banana. Basically, as soon as I stop working out, I have a banana. I drink a lot of fluid. I have a couple of nuts in my car, and I nibble on those until I get home, where I cook up a normal sort of meal for dinner, or I'll have some eggs for breakfast. The other one for me with recovery is ensuring that I get a good night's sleep. If you ask my girlfriend, I'm a bit of a stickler for a good night's sleep, and I try to make sure I'm in bed quite early, but sometimes, I'm in the office late and that doesn't really work. But I think for me, food and rest is the most important thing when it comes to recovery. And I've noticed in the past where when I haven't been, I guess, giving my body the right nutrition, all of a sudden, I start feeling cold and fluey. I start feeling run down. I even get, you get that run down, I start getting ulcers in my mouth. And I really know that I'm not doing the right thing. And it all comes down to my food intake. And I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't consuming enough calories to keep up with what I was doing. So just ensuring that the food is equal to the amount of energy you're sort of putting out so that you're actually filling your body up with energy.
How many hours is it, Hayden? And also, what time are you getting up? Are you an early morning person? When I first started Sportuccino, a lot of people will know that we were doing it live at 8 a.m. here in the UK, which meant I was getting up about 5 in the morning. Now, having read books about CEOs and leaders of industry and all the people in San Francisco, I was like, yes, I'm going to be up at 5. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be in great shape. And I'll be honest, it absolutely exhausted me. Couldn't do the gym, got into a bad cycle, bad eating, and was just exhausted. And I've now moved it to the time that we're doing 3 p.m. British Standard Time. Now, do you ever do early starts? Can you do something like that?
Yeah, well, I think the main point to take out of that is the fact that I'm the same as you. I'm a big reader. I'm a big listener. I'm someone that loves to absorb information. But the takeaway message there is everyone's different, and different modalities work for different people, whether it be nutrition, sleep patterns, work patterns. I might work well at 4:30 in the morning. You might work well at 8 o'clock at night. So I think that's number one for the people at home, is to sort of really understand what works for your body. In my instance, yeah, I'm definitely an early morning person. Most mornings I'm up. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I ride on the bike. So I try to get in the gym about 6 o'clock, because I do altitude training, which is really cool. And then Tuesday, Thursday, we're in the pool doing swimming. Me and two English fellas actually, we swim on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 6 a.m. So again, it's a 5:15 alarm. And then Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's normally a road ride, and then Sunday's a sleep in. But yeah, I'm an early morning person, and then the afternoon training is sort of early evening, and then I try to get into bed by sort of 10 o'clock most evenings. But I think my body enjoys it. It's something I've done for a long time. I grew up swimming in the pool. I remember vividly my old man driving me to the pool at the wee hours of the morning, training for surf life saving and nippers and things like that. So it's sort of something that I've grown up with, and I really I do enjoy the early mornings.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Hayden, we've nearly come towards the end of our conversation, but what I'd like to do is learn a little bit more about you by playing 5 favourite things. Basically, I'm going to throw at you things such as books, favourite city, favourite film, and I just want you to come up with what is the first thing that comes into your mind. We'll go through 5, then at the end of them, I'll pick one of them which I found the most interesting, and we'll just get a bit more detail on why you've chosen that, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm going to have to think on my feet.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're ready, let's play 5 favourite things. All right. Favourite book?
Anything by Tim Ferriss.
Big fan myself. 4-Hour Work Week. Just downloaded Tools of Titan. This is 5 favourite things. What am I doing? We'll talk about that later. Favourite song?
Favourite song? Oasis Wonderwall.
Sensational. I'm definitely fitting into the Hayden Quinn philosophy here, because that's one of my favourites as well. Okay. Favourite city?
Sydney, but if I was to travel abroad, I'd have to say New York.
Favourite film?
Oh, gosh. Gladiator.
Sensational. And favourite app?
Favourite app? At the moment, I'm pretty obsessed with Strava.
Yeah, I saw you put one of your runs on there recently. Tell us about that app. I'd not heard about it before.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until probably 6 months ago, not even. One of the English lads got onto it, because as most of you English people do, you love to come to Australia and then never leave. So I got a great group of friends here that are, a mix of Aussies and Englishmen and all over the place. But he basically said it was like Facebook for athletes, and he used the word athlete in a very loose term. But it's exactly what it is. So I've got my Garmin on, and basically my Garmin hooks up to my phone, and then it goes straight to the Strava app, and it puts on there, it says, morning run, gives the map, and you can add photos, you can add a description, you can add notes. And it shows just basically all the data that comes out of your watch simply. And then from there, you follow people. So Richard, I could follow you, you could follow me. We could comment on each other's runs saying, well done, or you should have gone quicker, or oh my God, what are you doing? That sort of thing. So it's a great interactive tool. And one of the cool things that I love is that it recognizes if you and I were to go for a run together, and we started our watch at the same time, it would recognize that we started in the same place at the same time and we were running together. So it would, on the feed, it would group it as a group. So if you do a big group run, like sometimes we have a run with a Pace Athletic Run Club down here, there's like 50 of us. And you see all the people that did the run with you because they're all on Strava. So it's a great sort of community thing without being too over the top.
No, that's great, because it's always important to measure what you're doing, and if you can do it in a group setting, that's even better. When you were mentioning about how you start each day, the fact that you're meeting your 2 English friends to go swimming, it does give you that little bit of motivation as far as they're going to be there, I can't let them down, and everything like that.
100%.
Is there a particular Tim Ferriss book you like the most? I was really inspired by 4-Hour Work Week, big fan of his podcast. just downloaded Tools of Titans for the Kindle. Be interested to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, is there a favourite one?
Yeah. No. I'm up there with you on the 4-hour work week was definitely a big hit for me. I've just recently bought the hard copy of Tools for Titans, which was, I've only just started reading the first few pages, but it's looking like a great read and a real Bible. One for me, which I thought was really interesting coming from the food world, was the 4-hour chef, which there was a few things in there which were a bit like, that's kind of interesting and a little bit boring. But then at the same time, I had to sort of step back a little bit and think, if you weren't a food person, how would you look at this book? And if you're someone new coming into the world of food, it's a great tool. And I guess it's a classic Tim Ferriss book. It's a one-stop shop. You know, it can become your Bible. And I really enjoyed sort of flicking through that. But yeah, for me, it's the 4-hour work week, and the 4-hour body was a great one as well. There's some great takeaways and some great exercises to come out of that. So he's a very smart man. I don't know if I would want to live the life he's lived with what he's put his body through, but he's definitely provided some great information for the rest of us.
Yeah, on this fitness show on Sportuccino, I tried something a few weeks ago where I basically felt like I was electrocuted, and I did feel a little bit like Tim Ferriss that day, and was like, I'll leave him to be trying things like this in the future.
Yeah.
We'll let him put his body through all of that. Well, Hayden, it's been really good to talk to you. I've really learnt a lot from you on this program. Fantastic to get your ideas on life and your philosophy and everything like that. We already know your website because we've got it on the screen for most of this interview, but how else can we find you on social media and continue to follow your journey, please?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on social media. I'm really into Instagram at the moment, as is everyone. So my Instagram handle is @Hayden_Quinn. The Twitter is exactly the same, @Hayden_Quinn. I'm on Facebook, Hayden J. Quinn, and then via YouTube, I do a lot of vlogging for my adventures when I travel all over the world, and then also there's a lot of food content on there as well if people are looking for some food tips and tricks. So that's Hayden Quinn TV.
Just quickly, as you mentioned travel there, and you spoke about your favourite city, I'm literally heading off to the airport any second. When you are traveling, and I know you're someone who's travelled a lot, are you someone who'll eat airline food, or do you always carry something with you? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I definitely do eat airline food 100%. I try to eat a very good meal before flying. I try to take a few healthy snacks with me so I can keep the good food coming in. But I'm very fortunate. I fly so often that I have a very good flight status, so I get to go to the lounge and whatnot. So Qantas looks after me very well. So they have some great food in their lounges, and I prefer to eat up big in the lounge before flying. But you know, I'm someone that if I don't eat, I'm not a nice person. So I sort of get my hands on whatever I can and yeah, get into it.
Yeah, we're in the same boat there. Getting hangry, I think they call it.
That's the word.
Yeah, when I use those lounges, I tend to use more of the opportunity of the bubbles than necessarily the food. But
yeah.
Well, Hayden, it's been really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for being on Sportuccino today.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it. And cheers, guys.
Really great to speak to Hayden Quinn on today's Sportuccino. You may remember last week I spoke to Lee James. He is, of course, a fitness professional. He also dresses up as Conan and Thor. He's got some amazing Instagram pictures. And he gave us some tips last week about how we can shed those extra Easter pounds. And he gave us some pretty alarming information about what exactly we need to do if we eat just one Easter egg. Just have a little look at this.
Previously on Sportuccino.
You've got the twirl, and it's just a hollow milk chocolate egg with 2 packs of milk fingers. You know, it's lovely, but this is actually nearly 300 grams of chocolate. And let me just put you into perspective. If you were to eat this and you're like, right, I want to burn this off. For the average person, this actually packs a big punch, and you're going to have to do, wait for it, 174 minutes of burpees straight to burn that off.
Oh no, thank you. not even 174 burpees, 174 minutes of burpees.
That's it. Yeah. So if you're doing,
Oh.
I mean, there are other options to sort of undo those effects. You could either do that or run for just over 2 hours, or you could do 99 minutes of squats.
Oh.
So it's quite, so it's quite simple, really. It's not, you just look at that and just think to yourself, 99 minutes of squats, and then you'll be burning that back off.
Yeah, lots of great knowledge there from Lee, and it was really good to speak to Hayden on today's fitness show on Sportuccino. Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, just as simple as @Sportuccino. Same with Twitter @Sportuccino. We're also on Instagram. We're on Periscope. We're literally everywhere. Just find Sportuccino, SPORTUCCINO. Go and check us out. We're also a podcast on iTunes. Thank you so much if you've been listening to this program as a podcast. I really appreciate it. All right, I will be back on Wednesday, where I should be, fingers crossed, live from Doha, Qatar. I'm going to be there to be a ring announcer, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for QPW. They're the biggest wrestling promotion in the Middle East. They've got an absolutely stacked card this Friday, including Rey Mysterio, Sting, Booker T, Alberto El Patron, you name it, they're going to be there in Doha, Qatar. Cody Rhodes, John Hennigan, you name it, they are there with QPW this Friday in Doha, Qatar. If you're in the region, go and check it out. Come and say hello to me. I'll be doing ring announcing, and hopefully our wrestling show on Wednesday will be featuring some of the talent from Friday's show. So don't miss it do not miss it. Just don't miss it. Don't do anything. Don't miss it. All right, I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino, and I'll be back with you at 3 p.m. British Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Have a wonderful day.